Dating the kingdom way. Dating the kingdom way. Dating the kingdom way. Dating the kingdom way. What you gonna do when the devil tempts you? Are you gonna keep it pure? In Jesus you have victory. In him you can be secure. Dating the kingdom way. Dating the kingdom way. Dating the kingdom way. Dating the kingdom way.
It's the day that we are sitting down with the one and the only Big Red himself.
Come on.
Yes, he is gospel recording artist. Am I right?
Whatever
Rap.
you call it. Whatever you want to call it.
Gospel rap recording artist Big Red is in the house today, and we're going to sit down and talk with him about something that is very important called discovering your purpose through serving.
Sure.
And I remember a few weeks ago, I was looking on Facebook. You know, you did a Facebook Live. I think it was after a holiday concert or something like that.
It was at the concert.
It was at the concert.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was on Facebook Live and he was sharing his testimony about how the song Big Jesus came about. And it was through serving your youth ministry at your church at Right Direction. And I was so moved by that story because I can so relate to that story. You know, I discovered a lot of my gifts and talents through serving in my ministry. You know, things that I never thought that I was able to do. My man of God saw it in me and gave me the opportunity to do it, and then I grew in that. And even with my book, you know, I have 2 books, but I didn't start out writing books. I started out writing in my church newsletter.
Wow. Yeah.
And then God just blessed and expanded, and so yeah, I said, man, this is the message that I really want to get out to people. But he just said it in such a way, you know, that was better than I could say it.
Come on, man.
You know, so I said, man, we got to get him on the show.
Yeah,
And of course,
definitely.
my husband was on board with that. So thank you for being here with us today.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you for tuning into the Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you for the invitation. So I'm excited about this conversation.
Yes. It is definitely our pleasure to have you here. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Tell us a little bit about yourself. We know you're a gospel rap recording artist, but tell us about yourself a little bit.
Okay. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina. Columbia is my home. Been there just about all my life. I graduated from Wake Forest University in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Had an academic scholarship to go there, and love being a Wake Forest Demon Deacon, the oxymoron. Demon Deacon. That's the mascot. So I try to shorten it and just
Are
say,
you
go
serious?
Geeks. Yeah, we're the
Oh.
Demon Deacons. Yeah,
Oh my God, I didn't know
long
that.
story wide.
Wow.
Yeah, Tim Duncan. Actually, Tim Duncan and I were classmates. We were there at the same time. So Tim was a senior, I was a freshman. So after I graduated, came back to Columbia, I tried to find my way out. And, I was like, all my friends are in the bigger cities. But, once I actually prayed about it, God said, no, I want you to be here. I want you to be a part of this city becoming the city that people will want to come to.
Yeah.
So I've been here and been in the radio industry and music industry and really just loving life right now.
Yeah, I think I first heard about you when you were on the radio and you were the voice of Right Direction.
Right.
I'm like,
Right.
okay, that's that
Not
guy.
that
Yeah, I recognize
My
your
wife
voice.
is a stickler for stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
funny.
Like, that's that same guy that was. Okay. So anyway, so when did you first begin rapping?
I started rapping in middle school.
Okay.
So I went to Creighton Middle School, and I had a group of friends who they all could rap. Brian Williams, he's my DJ now, DJ 180. Patrick Coakley, we called him Bishop when we were all younger. a guy named Ivan Dublin, Shantae, all of that. So they used to get together. We all would get together at recess, and everybody would rap. Everybody would get around and beatbox, and everybody would freestyle. And I was the only person in the group that could not rap. I was intrigued by someone's ability to extemporaneously come up with a rap that actually made sense. So I used to go home. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna be the odd man out. I'm gonna get this thing. I cheated a little bit.
Yeah.
I went home. My little brother had a Fisher Price tape recorder, and I remember recording little instrumentals off the tail end or the beginning of a song, and I would just loop it, and I would practice rapping. And writing my raps and rehearsing my raps so that I could represent.
So they thought you were freestyling.
They did. I had to like jumpstart my way into the rap scene, but that's where it started. It was in middle school.
Oh wow,
Okay.
that's awesome. That reminds me of me and my friends doing our SWV thing.
Right.
And singing like we were a girl group.
Right.
Did
But
y'all ever do that?
it's funny, in New York, everybody think they can rap. So it's
Right.
You see guys in the corner
Let's
like,
go. Let's go. It's
okay. Yeah.
Cool. So then, I don't know. I'm imagining you weren't doing Christian rap at that point.
Correct. I
So-
was not.
Okay.
I wasn't a Christian at the time.
Okay.
So if you hear any Big Red songs from prior to 2001, just disregard those.
It's the old
Son of the
man.
blood.
They made you are.
Part of the process.
That's right.
Praise the Lord.
Our pastor said, thank God for your past and made your
It
future.
made my future. Exactly.
Definitely. So then I guess the Christian rap just came with salvation and your whole lifestyle change.
Yeah. So what happened while I was a student at Wake Forest? A friend invited me to a retreat at Mount Zion in Greensboro, actually, and it was a weekend long. It was like a shut-in at the school. At the church. And I remember, it was a great time of revival. I'll never forget. That was one of the first times I recall being around young people who weren't ashamed of their relationship with God. I just remember, they literally had worship going on 24 hours a day. So even into the wee hours of the morning, the worship team would be up on the acoustic guitar doing an a cappella. And but at that retreat, I remember some guys saying, just in conversation, we were talking about music, and they said, "Hey, have you heard of? Do you have the Cross Movement's latest project?" I was like, "Who's the Cross Movement?" They're like, "It's a Christian rap group," and I was like, "Christian rap?" I'm like, "For real?" Like, "Oh, okay." And in my mind, I was thinking, this is probably corny, because I had never heard of Christian rap. And they're like, "Nah, these dudes, they hype, man. They can go." So I remember searching for their CD. I found their CD, and it changed my life. And it was the first time I heard somebody bring rap, the gospel, in a way that was just like amazing. And it was literally the Cross Movement that sparked that in me. Because prior to that, like when I got saved, I put rap music down. I just assumed that I would have to, to me, rap and Jesus didn't go together. It was like, that's the devil's music. That was nobody had ever said that to me, but I just assumed because of the content that was in the music I was listening to, all that was synonymous with each other. So I put it down, but at this retreat, these guys were like, "Nah, you can do Christian rap." And so I left there, and that was like a seed that just began to blossom. Like, I can enjoy this, and then I was started okay, kind of becoming awakened to the fact I could do this myself. So I started writing again, and started rapping again, and started rapping at different talent shows. A lot of people don't know. I don't know if I've mentioned this in an interview before. Exclusive. But I used to be in a singing group called God's Workmanship while we were on campus. And so they used to work in, different remixes. We would be singing, and then I would rap in some of the songs. But it was like talent shows, and, just different places around Winston. I used to rap, but it was much of a hobby until a little bit later on.
Okay.
So two things. When did you start to take it serious when you knew this was your calling? And like some people think that Christian music got too secular. What do you say to those people? We were talking earlier.
Right, sure. So with your first question, when did I start to take it seriously?
Yeah.
You know, as I mentioned, to me it was much of a hobby at the time. So like I got saved in like 97. I didn't even know the significance of my salvation experience. So a lot of people know like I got saved on this day. I think it was like in around 97.
Yeah.
But it was a hobby up until then when I joined my church, Right Direction Church International. You know, I would rap for Vacation Bible School, and I would rap for the Christmas concert and the youth conferences and things like that. And I was a member of a group called Wise Men. It was Carnell Johnson Jr. and Tyron Pickett. We formed this rap group. And so we put out an EP, a 3-song EP.
Know what that
we put out a 3-song EP. And, you know, life just kind of happened. People get married and have kids, and that just got kind of busy. And I was about to put rap down. And God just dealt with me and was like, you know, now you can do that. We have free will. But God spoke to me clear as day, and he said, you know, you can do whatever you want, but I'm going to hold you accountable for this decision that you make one way or the other. So I was like, well, I ain't never heard God talk to me like that before. I was like, you can do it. But just know I'm going to hold you accountable for that. So I went back and was like, okay, what does that mean? Like, what do I need to do with this? And God, clear as day, like I'm talking to you right now, this has only happened, I could recall 1, maybe 2 times. I know this one time I audibly heard God say, you know, I'm going to use you to take my gospel around the world. And I put that in my pocket. It scared me because I was like, I know I'm not called to be a pastor or a preacher, or I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell nobody. It scared me. But God just showed me eventually as I began to walk it out that it was going to be through the music. That, you know, whether I go physically may not be the case, but he was going to use the music to get it there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I know you asked another question, but I just thought of something else too. I know that I have thought in the past, and I know a lot of people think that, you know, if you have a dream, you know, God put something in your heart and your spirit, you have to go after it. You have to go to what it is. Like once I wanted to write for Essence, you know, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to move to New York, and you know, so that I can do that. And then, you know, just through the teaching, you know, of my pastor, he's like, you don't have to go anywhere because God will bring your dreams to you.
Right. And
you don't have to uproot your That's right. You know, you stay where I planted you.
That's right.
And everything's gonna come to you.
That's right.
You know, it's gonna chase you down. So that's awesome. But back to
about the secular part.
About the secular part of it. You know, I think that as believers, and this is for every generation, I think every generation should ask itself the question, am I being effective in disseminating the gospel?
That's right. Yeah.
You know, if our goal is truly to win people to Christ, then we have to look at the message is the same.
Right.
You know, the message has been given to us. It's there, you know, in the Bible. It's there. We got the message. But it's about how are we going to disseminate that message. So you have to, and I think that may change as culture evolves.
Right.
You know, so it doesn't mean I change the gospel or change the interpretation of it, but it may mean I need to change the method that I present it to people.
And the mindset of the people. Because I remember when Kirk Franklin first came out, that was like a big thing. Like I said before, the James Cleveland people were like, what is he doing?
Right.
He's not representing God.
Sure.
But when you listen to what he's saying and, you know, block out the beat and all the movements, he's sending out a message to the people that God is here and you should come to God.
Absolutely.
So, like, we have to change the mindset. And I think if we do that, we'll break down a lot of walls that we can put up, like Christian rap. A lot of people hear that. And like you said before, like your mindset was, well, that's not of God.
Sure.
But when you listen to what they're saying and you meet some of the people and their heart is pure and love God, that's just their way of expressing.
Right.
Have you met any opposition?
Oh,
Yeah.
goodness.
Come on, man.
My.
I'm saying, if Kirk Franklin, I mean, man, rapping.
Yeah, I would just think, these days and times, people would be a little bit more open to it.
I look on, how Facebook gives you your, you posted this 5 years ago, 7 years ago. A post came up recently.
To Big Red's debut. Is that wrong? Is that your debut track?
No,
Not quite.
it's not that. But hey,
Yeah.
because you're going to go back
Um,
over the break,
That's
we
right.
found out that there's some more music of
That's
mine
right.
that they didn't know about. So
That's
we got
right.
a little present for them to go
There
back
you
and listen
go.
to.
All right.
But yeah,
Put none of the
one of the
stocking
most
true.
current.
There
One
you
of the
go.
most current. There you
Make
go.
a good gift, everybody. Go out and get it.
That's right. But you were just listening to Big Jesus, and that happens to be our son Gabe's favorite song.
Wow.
I mean, absolute favorite. When we hop in the car, he's like, "Play Big God," and he's trying to rap, kind of slow, but he's trying to get those words
I
in.
love it. I love it. Yeah.
Yes. So let's talk about that song. How did that song come about?
Wow. I love to tell this story.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I'm a member of Right Direction Church International. Shouts out to my
There
pastors,
you go.
Dr. Herbert and Marsha Bailey.
Oh, yeah.
I've been a member there since 2001. And it's like when I visited, I just knew that was it. The atmosphere was it was such a spirit of praise and worship. I knew that was my home. So, I was submitted there. Shortly after I got there, I became a member of our choir.
Okay.
So I sang on the gospel choir at
Yeah.
Wake Forest. And then shortly after that, I became a member of the praise team at Right Direction.
You know what? I remember you too from when Ty Tribbett came to the township.
yeah.
Weren't you guys
Yes,
open up for
we were
him?
singing.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know how I knew who you were at that point. I'm like, that's the guy from the radio. And they just put it all together.
Yeah.
But
He's
yeah.
been dabbling for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so with this,
Call.
absolutely, all of this stuff just works in. It's like there's so many cool stories of things God introduced me to that He's working into this present state of my life.
Yeah.
But being a member of Right Direction and being a part of the choir, and I wasn't an active part of youth ministry, but when they had events, thankfully they would invite me to come rap or be a part of, be a special music guest for conferences and things like that. So for Resurrection Sunday weekend, for the first time, they did something called Big Jesus Weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And so they invited me to be the music guest for that Sunday morning, Resurrection Sunday morning. The youth were going to have their own Sunday. So they had a whole weekend of events, and then that Sunday morning was dedicated just to them in the youth building. So I said, you're always thinking of how can I relate to the kids?
Right.
How can I make this message relevant to them? I was like, I hadn't put out any new music in a while. So I was like, let me write something
Mm-hmm.
that's specific to the house,
Right.
that they can relate to. And like, man, Big Red, he's showing love. He wrote us a song.
Yeah.
And so I began to search for, talk to my producers and stuff, and hooked up with a man, Tone Jones, out of Atlanta, Georgia, and got the track from him and proceeded to write this song. And it was called Big Jesus, specifically for my house of worship.
Yeah.
I was writing that song to rap on that Sunday morning, Resurrection Sunday weekend. And then as I proceeded to write the song and had even created kind of a demo for it, God just was dealing with me like, okay, now I know what you did it for, but I want you to do X, Y, Z with it. Go ahead and prepare to release this out to the world.
Wow.
So I got it professionally mixed and mastered and did a campaign, and it hit the radio, and Just it literally gets played all over the world.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but it started with my house of worship. You know, where I've been serving
That's
for
right.
so many years,
Mhm.
and you know, even in that moment of them inviting me to be the guest minister of music that day, they may be looking at me like it's Big Red coming in, and they treat me that way.
Right.
They still treat it's the same people that you know and you shake hands with and hug week in and week out. But the beautiful thing is they don't have to do it because you can get familiar with people
Right.
that
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
you know. But they don't treat me familiar.
Right.
And that when they bring me in as Big Red, they treat me like Big Red.
Okay.
They don't treat me like, oh yeah, I know him. You know,
Right.
I see him every week.
Yeah.
You know, and so, but on the flip side, when I'm there, I'm grateful that I'm there as Big Red, the recording artist, but I'm still looking at it like I'm serving my house.
Yes.
You know, so I get to do two roles. I'm the recording artist in that moment,
Right.
but it's also an opportunity for me to pour into a place that has sown so much into me.
Right.
You know,
Definitely.
so,
Definitely.
So I'm grateful that God would, in His divine plan, would set it up that way and allow it to just be a blessing not only in the house but to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Good.
Definitely. So originally, you really didn't even see it becoming the success that it is.
Not at all.
Until God spoke that to you.
Not at, it was for the house. Like I've even contemplated releasing the version of the song that I recorded. I recorded it. I have a studio in my home, but it's I usually the things that I release, I don't release the stuff that I record at home. You know,
Okay.
I try to go out. You know, the stuff I do at home is more demos and just to get it out and out of my head and onto something that I can work with, and then I take those reference tracks to an actual professional, engineer. But if you could hear the original track, like the performance track that I used even on that Sunday, it wasn't professionally mixed or mastered because it was just kind of like an in-house thing. But I thought about releasing that just so people can see the journey from the beginning of the song to how it ended up sounding after.
You should do that.
But it's a huge difference, okay. Like I'm doing the background vocals, I'm doing the 3-part harmony, I'm doing everything. I'm like running in and out of the studio. I'm like, okay, all right, it was crazy. But God's faithful.
Definitely. So then I guess if you could, I don't know, pinpoint a thing or two, or what do you attribute that song's success?
Man, service. If I had to pick one word, it would be service. I can't take any credit for what happened with that song. I can't take credit for it being, a brainchild of mine. Like I was so incredible to come up with this concept. I can't even say that I would have come up with that song if it weren't for my house of worship. For the youth in my church. For Pastor Chandler Bailey for coming up with that theme and them inviting me to come in. I wasn't sitting around like, I want to write a song about how big God is. I wouldn't have thought about writing an anthem for young people to celebrate the largeness of God. It literally was because of service to the house and that connection of being in the house.
I like that because people think it's a loss. Like if they say, you're always in church, you're always there, but they don't understand that the blessings that come behind that you don't see and you don't know anything about, that you're in the house. Our pastor always said there's always a word for you. Every time you come in the house, there's a word for you that will change your life.
Exactly.
And I see that's what that did for you, that song. Change your
Definitely. And then I'm hearing there was a specific purpose for that song. And that's what we're talking about, discovering your purpose through service. And so had it not been for the purpose of that song, you may not have been walking in your full purpose.
At all.
So, wow.
And you just tell me how we are on the time.
Yeah.
All these different pieces are coming back to my mind, even to, talking about dating the Kingdom Way. Even my wife was such an integral part in the success of this song. How so? So I had several tracks that I was considering. Usually I get the track first and then I write the song to it.
Right.
'Cause you know, I know a lot of people do it the other way around. I generally hear the track and then the track takes me somewhere and I'm like, that's the song.
Right.
And I kind of write my rhymes around it. So I was considering several tracks and I narrowed it down and I had one picked out. And I played it for my wife.
Right.
And so she was like, it's all right. She was like, play the other ones. So I was like, I'm cycling through, I'm playing them. I'm like, I'm not using those.
Yeah.
And I played the track, the Big Jesus track. And she was like, that's the one.
Yeah.
I was like, what? This
You
one?
weren't even trying to think about that, right?
I don't even remember what the other track was now. She said, this is the one.
Helpmate.
My
There you
helpmate.
go.
She said, that's the one. And she was like, unequivocally, like, she wouldn't let me consider. I was like, you know, you think so? And so I was like, okay, well, let me try it out. I had started writing the song a little bit already.
Yeah.
And once I tried it, I was like, you know what? You're right. You know, this one is, this track is better. But I was listening from a whole different space. She saw it. She saw it and was like, this is the one.
Yeah.
And so the song, again, that's another, if my wife, if that woman,
Yeah.
you know, that blessing, that
Right.
favor,
Oh, yeah.
Shout out
wouldn't
to
have,
Tisha
shout
Feather.
out to
Yeah.
Dr.
Yeah.
Tisha Feather.
Dr. Tisha
Yes,
Feather,
Dr.
that's
T.
right.
You know, Dr. T has a very huge part as to the success of that song too.
Definitely.
Even down to the track that I use. It has a whole different feel.
Right.
Because my wife was very instrumental in convincing me that that was the track I should
Right.
use.
And then, go ahead.
How do you get the concept for the video? I mean, how'd that come about?
Oh man! So the song came out in 2015, I believe, and then you know, in the music world, you know, it's so hyper active right now. If you're not putting out songs all the time, and everything is, oh, I got a new single, I got a new EP, got this collab, got that. It moves a whole lot faster than generations ago, right? So, but you know, a year later, I always wanted to do a music video for the song, and I was like, you know what? I know I don't have no new music out.
Right.
I don't care. I was like, I'm gonna shoot a video for Big Jesus because I want to.
There you go.
And I released the video almost like it was like a new song. It gave it another breath of fresh air to expose it to people that had not heard the song. So, you know, reached out to a couple of different people, and my manager, Lamyron Jenkins of Integrity Consulting and Management. You know, I was telling about some different people that I was looking at the video. I was like, oh yeah, this is good. And he's like, hey, you need to look at this right here. I was on the phone with him, and he said, I'm gonna email you. You need to check this video out from this group, Renaissance Movement Music out of the Virginia area. It's like it's a guy named Will Thomas who made this video. You need to check him out.
Right.
So I'm on the phone with Lamyron, and I'm looking through Will's videos, and I'm like, wow. You know, so I called Will, emailed him. We ended up talking, and I told him what I wanted to do. And I told him, he gave me his prices. I said, okay. I said, here's what I'm going to do. This is like a Tuesday.
Yeah.
I said, you give me till Friday. So I give you an answer of what we're going to do. So I went home, prayed about it, talked to my wife about it, and just waited before the Lord, looked for a strategy on what to do. And God gave me the strategy of what to do. I didn't have the money right away to just be like, okay, well, let me send this to your PayPal. And God gave me a strategy, and I reached out to some core supporters. You know, I think you even but that was the strategy God gave me. Don't put anything out on Facebook. Don't put it out there. Don't do a GoFundMe.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you who to reach out to.
Oh wow.
And I sent individual messages to people.
Yeah.
Told them what I wanted to do, and just say, hey, this is a seed. I can't repay you.
Right.
I can't multiply what you sow.
Right.
Ask the Lord to repay you. If you can be a part of it, cool. If not, I get it. And God gave over and above what we needed to shoot that video. And I was able to call Will back and say, hey.
Wait, it was by that Friday? You had all
that Friday.
Wow.
By that Thursday. I had, all I really needed was a deposit.
Yeah.
But 80% of the budget within
Look at God.
2 days.
He'll do it.
Yeah.
He
I mean, it
provides.
just
What he got?
within the first person I asked, I remember going to sitting at the coffee shop. Was like, all right, I believe this is the strategy you gave me, God. Let's go. Put my headphones on. Started texting people and emailing people.
Yeah.
30 seconds. I mean, first one, I sent the text, and 30 seconds later, they didn't even reply.
Yeah.
PayPal.
Wow.
$100. Another one within 5 minutes.
Welcome
$100.
back to Dating the Kingdom Way. We have been talking to Big Red, gospel rap recording artist,
Yes.
and you were just listening to his most recent single, Running Back to You, featuring Fred Hammond.
Wow.
Right? How awesome is that?
You know?
You got to tell us the story. How did that come about?
Oh, man. So I started writing that song about 2 years prior to the release of that song. Again, sitting in a coffee shop. I love coffee. And, had the track, another Tone Jones track. And as soon as I heard this track and started writing to it, and guys just started showing me what he wanted me to say with the song and where it was going. When it got to the hook, I just sat back and I was like, this song, I want Fred Hammond to sing on this song.
Wow.
I can't explain. It was just like, I didn't have a list of people who I might want to. I was like, this is a Fred Hammond.
Yeah.
And so from that point, I titled the song Running Back to You featuring Fred Hammond on my notes.
Did you already know him?
No,
Oh, man.
did not know Fred
Come
Hammond.
on.
Speak
now.
it.
That's right.
No.
Speak
Get
it.
into it.
Didn't
Right,
know.
get into
Yeah,
it.
yeah. It wasn't like I could say, hey, Fred, I need you on this track.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna send you the files. Couldn't do it. Yeah, it's good. It's good
Okay.
going. So I kept writing the song, and then I started reaching out as best as I could.
Yeah.
So tried to tweet him. Like if you
Yeah.
go on Twitter, I could go back and find the different ways I was trying to insert myself in the conversations he was having with other people.
Anybody that
Oh
knows.
man, I tried that. I inboxed him on Facebook. I DM'd him on Instagram.
Yeah.
I even tried to find the mailing address to his music company.
Yeah.
I sent him my CD, wrote him a letter, said, hey, I'm not asking for any favors. I'm a professional. I just want to know what it'll take for us to make this happen, and see if we can have a conversation about it. So, 2 years went by, a year and a half, and I was about to stop. I was like, okay, maybe I'm doing too much. Maybe this wasn't God, or I'll just move on. And so just when I was about to stop, I was like, I'm gonna reach out to this one other person who had a relationship, with him. You know how when you have those people who they kind of have the connection, but you don't really want to ask them.
I know exactly.
So it was like that for me. I'm never like that guy who's like, yo, can you hook me up? But I just said, hey, let me get your advice on this. Here's what I'm trying to do.
She don't care.
You
know,
like,
you got your cousin. Let me talk to you.
Here's what I need.
Tell your cousin.
Strategy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Go ahead.
But yeah, I reached out and said, look, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm about business. I just want to see what it'll take to make this happen.
Right.
And he said, I wish you would have asked me a year ago to do this.
Right.
And so they reached out to Fred's management team. They gave him my number. Then that kind of got the ball rolling of us just talking. Then it still was about 6 months. They said he's got these projects going on right now. We can't really talk about this right now.
Right.
They hit me up. It was like, when they called, they were ready to go.
Okay.
They said, look, okay, he just finished his project.
Right.
He finished his album, released his album. He's finishing the masters on it. He's going to send them to the record label. He's going to have about 10 days between that and when he goes on this 52-city tour.
Wow.
So they were like,
That's your window.
do you have the song written? Is it copywritten? Do you have a demo of it? All of that, all the business stuff.
Right.
And so I said, I don't have it demoed, because I'm an indie, and if you have an opportunity to work with a legend, I didn't want to be like, hey, here's the whole thing.
Right.
Here's exactly what I want you to do. I wanted to give him the leverage to put in his creative into it. But they said, no, he's got a real busy schedule. send him, you fill it up, and just tell us where you would want him to plug in at. So I did. I was on vacation when they called me, so I came back home to Columbia, demoed the track, sent it off to them. About 7 days later, they called me back and said, Fred loves the song. He's agreed to do the collab. He wants to know how soon you can get to Dallas.
Wow.
I was like, wow. You know,
Timing of
so it was
God.
like all of it is like long, wait, and then
Boom.
it happened.
Mm.
Door open, and it was go time. And a week later, I was in his studio in Dallas. We spent the whole day together and recorded it at his studio.
That's cool.
Wow. And you didn't have to come up with any other funds besides
I mean,
the hotel.
to get there,
Yeah.
Wow.
you know, to get there, and even then, people again, I told my core what was going on. They just started sewing. Wow.
Yeah. That's
So,
amazing.
I didn't pay for it personally, you know.
Mhm.
I mean, my wife, we put a little bit into it, but somebody blessed us with the plane ticket, you know, for my manager and I to go. Somebody was like, hey, I can't do a lot, but I want to sew. They paid for it. They paid for the rental car. Somebody else was like, hey, I know you're going to need a little money while you're in the airport. Da, da, da.
Yeah.
So, like,
Spend
$60.
Oh,
When I tell you I didn't spend,
Big God.
you know, so that was just God's grace and
Yeah.
favor. Like,
Yeah.
I got you. I hooked it up all this way. I got you.
This is what I called you
This
to
is
do.
what I called you
and
to
I'm
do.
going to make it happen.
So,
God said He's gonna do it for you.
Right.
Don't question Him.
Yeah.
Don't blame. Just go.
He did.
Because He ain't gonna fail.
Right. All
Right.
He requires is obedience.
That's
right.
But
Man.
like we were talking about that earlier. Like certain people want to do half of what God told them to do,
Right.
or they want to do it their way.
Right.
You're not smarter than God.
Right.
If God tell you to do something, you follow the steps to the T, and I guarantee you,
That's right.
you will see the results. Guarantee.
Yeah.
And let me throw this in while, you know, going back to the overarching topic for today, you
Yeah.
know, about service and about sowing into your house and being submitted. You know, I have a I say a close relationship with my pastors from the standpoint of, you know, a lot of people, they go to a larger church and they're like, well, the church is too big.
Yeah.
You know, you feel like you're bothering your pastor by telling them what's going on or emailing them or calling them or setting up meetings with them. I'm like, I'm not going to be the person that's always in his face, but I'm not going to make any major step without seeking my pastor's counsel.
Right. Definitely.
So there's been key places in my professional music career, radio career, personal life, where I'm like, okay, yeah, I can pray, I can talk to God, but I'm like, let me submit this to my man and woman of God. This is what I believe God is saying
Right.
and leading me to do. Here's what I believe the strategy is. But what do you think?
Right. Definitely.
And a lot of people, they don't like to talk about that. They don't like to talk about submitting, being willing to submit your plans
Definitely.
before a quote unquote man or a woman. But that has been vital to my life.
Right.
So even when it comes to, hey, I believe God is calling me to be a recording artist, I didn't just jump out there and say, all right, I'm going to be an artist. I met with my pastors. I feel like the Lord is leading me into this. Because honestly, like you out here, we forget this is a spiritual battle going on, a spiritual thing going on, not just I'm out here as a rapper.
Right.
You know, I mean, you think the devil is going to like that I'm out here winning souls using a platform and a method that's going to attract people to the gospel?
Right. Right.
So, in essence, I'm a minister.
Yeah.
Whether I have the title or not, I'm stepping out into into the playing field of a minister. And I need the blessing to be on me of my man and woman of God to step out in that place. I need their blessing to say, yes, I sanction you to go outside of the house and to perform and to do this, to do ministry this way.
Yeah.
That's key to me.
I love it.
You know, so even with the Fred Hammond song, I sowed a seed into my pastors. I said, I went to them, I said, this is what I'm believing God for. I really believe that God put this on my heart. It looks like things are moving, but it's still kind of iffy. I don't know what's going on. I hadn't heard anything. And my wife and I sowed a seed into them.
Yeah.
They prayed over it.
Yeah.
It's okay. They're like, well, what do you believe in God for? I'm like, we believe in God that, you know, that this collaboration happens. I really believe He wants this to happen.
Right.
And when I tell you, it's no exaggeration, by any means. That was on a Wednesday at Bible study that I sowed that seed, and that Friday is when I got that phone
Come
call.
on, God. When we follow the principles of God that are laid out in His Word,
Right.
we cannot help but to be blessed. We cannot help for things to move in the direction that God would have them to move.
That's
Man,
right.
submission.
So I know that's going to be unpopular, but I
Oh,
don't care. I don't have an opportunity to share, especially in quick interviews, you don't get to
Yeah.
tell
definitely.
the real true how. That's the how.
Right.
That was the how for me. Staying submitted, staying plugged in,
I love it.
and sowing seed along the
Yeah,
way.
definitely.
That's why I love this woman, because she has a sensitivity to God. Like, when we first got married, she must have had our pastor on speed dial. Pastor. And I was like, you calling him again? But, that's the way.
Right.
You can't make a move without your spiritual covering.
So,
How you going to do that? How you going to walk and you can't see what's around the corner? They can see everything. That's what they're there for.
Right.
To cover you, to pray for you, and to give you guidance.
Right.
Even this radio show,
Yes.
the
Oh.
opportunity presented
Right.
itself. And, of course, I'm thinking, I've never done this before. I can't do this. Of course, I would love to do it because it would help, with what I'm trying to promote and everything like that. But, I'm not going to step out into unfamiliar territory without being covered. So I'm going to my pastor and I'm going to ask him what he thinks about this. And, of course, he gave us the blessing. If he hadn't, we wouldn't have been doing this right now. Exactly.
Something else.
Yeah.
That's not
It
God.
could be
It's
no.
trying something else.
It might just mean not now.
Not
Right.
now. Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
And I love to hear that, because you don't hear that anymore. Everybody's got their own mind and their own plan of what they want to do.
Right.
They don't follow the guidance
The
of
divine
their
order.
gift. That's
it's
right.
order.
That's right.
That's what it is. Definitely. Man, this is beautiful. And we were talking before the last break, about just marriage and how important it is for a spouse to be involved in what you're doing. So, just tell us about, you and Dr. Tisha and how you guys' relationship helps you to move into your purpose.
Absolutely. She's my college sweetheart. So we dated in college. Then we were off because I was tripping. And then,
Why do we do that, right?
Why do we do that? But the Lord was so kind to preserve her for me. Praise the Lord.
Yes.
And that she was still available for me to ask for her hand in marriage. But she has, I'm a dreamer. I'm a big ideas person. I remember telling my parents, like, after I got saved and was just started becoming sensitive to like God's leading and doing what God said, I was like, I'm not going to have a traditional life.
Right.
If you're looking at me to go get a job and work 9 to 5, God bless those who do. But all the stuff that I thought I was going to do as a young person, I was like, I know that I'm going to be wealthy, but it's not going to be from going to business school and getting a 6-figure job right out of school. So Tisha has known that about me all my life, that I'm a dreamer, and she cultivates that. Like, she's a nurturer of my dreams. She doesn't, she's a soft-spoken woman, but she's a powerful woman. She's meek. Meek is power under control.
Right.
My wife is that. That doesn't mean she agrees with everything that I say. But when I say, there's some things that I ask her about, and I'm like, hey, what's your thoughts on this? And there's other things where I'm like, the Lord is telling me to do this, and we'll disagree about that. And it's like, and we'll go through and then, but what I love is that she'll still say, if God is telling you to do this, I would do it, because, period. And God will show himself strong.
That's right.
And he'll bless her. Even to her, us settling in Columbia. My wife, she graduated from the University of Texas. She got her PhD. She could be anywhere in the world she want to be. She had her master's in public health. She could have wrote her own ticket. She could have stayed in Houston. Huge cancer centers there. That's her research area. So, but I told her, I said, when we were about to get married, I said, I believe God is calling us to Columbia. I didn't know why. I just said, I believe God has called us to Columbia. She submitted to that and came here, didn't have a job,
Right.
looked crazy. All her colleagues are like,
Right.
Columbia, South Carolina. And they created a position for her
Wow.
that was so plush.
Mm.
Created a job.
Yeah.
Wasn't even,
Yeah.
you know, and that was like a mile marker in our lives. Like, I got you. And this is what happens when you submit, you know. But we were a powerful team, and I owe, going back to the music, I mean, I'm almost speechless to just how much she nurtures me as a musician, how she dreams with me, how she yields. You know, there have been times where you know, it's the household money that we're using to make music with.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm not gigging, as they say,
Right.
and it's like, but I still believe God told me to do this song or do this EP or do this album. And we have to come to the same page.
That's
like,
right.
we're going to use this household
Right,
money and
right.
invest it in the music. That's not easy when it's
No,
not
no.
overflow.
You right.
It's like you
Right.
budget in, but you believe God's
That's
going to
faith.
do it. Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. So she's a faith-filled woman
I like that.
and a godly woman, and I'm honored to be able to do life with her.
Welcome back to Dating the Kingdom Way. Russell and I are here still talking with the one and the only gospel rap recording artist, Big Red.
Oh
Yes. You know, we're about to wrap up the conversation, but I want, before we go, I want you to give some advice, you know, to Christians who are trying to discover their purpose in Christ, but maybe, you know, they spend more time, you know, YOLOing, you know, or maybe chasing money, and even to the artist that's hoping to make it big in the industry, but they neglect to use their gifts in the house of God first.
Mm-hmm.
What would be your advice to those individuals?
The first thing I would say is, obviously, like we talked about earlier, is being connected to a house of to Christian artists. You know, to be connected to a house of worship, stay submitted, and seek opportunities to serve in the house of worship.
Right.
You know, it's you can't take for granted the humility that is generated by you serving other people.
That's right.
It keeps you grounded.
Oh yeah.
It reminds you that you're not as hot as you think you
That's
are.
right.
You know, even in my house of worship, I mean, I was on the praise team and in the choir for 10 years, almost 11 years. You're on the front line. Everybody knows you. I'm the big light-skinned guy in the middle, smiling all the time with a big smile. And, you know, when the music really started picking up and I was traveling more and just the house schedule was just kind of taxed a little bit, you know, I was like, okay, I need to pull back from this particular ministry. I sat down for a little while and just prayed about what was next. And one of the other pastors on staff, you know, said, hey, you know, we really need some help in this particular ministry, in the sound ministry. We need somebody to engineer the board for the streaming audience.
Audio video.
So I was like, wow. It's like, that's cool. I can do that. And it worked with my schedule better. So I went from in front of the scenes every service to behind the scenes. There's days now where people don't even know I'm at church. I have to like get on Insta, you know, just to like, hey, I'm at church today, you know, in the house of the Lord.
Yeah.
So people are like, hey, where you been? I don't never see you.
Yeah.
No, I'm serving. I'm in the back.
Yeah.
But that's cool, you know?
Yeah.
So, but you have to be willing to, like, whether anybody sees you or not, you gotta know, like, God, I'm here to help make this easier for my man and woman of
There you
God.
go. I like that.
And just seek an opportunity to serve in your house
Right.
of worship. The other thing I would say is hold on, let me go back to serving.
Go ahead.
In that space, you can develop crafts that you, like, I truly believe God will pull stuff out of you that you didn't even know what
That's
you
right.
had when you're serving in your house of worship.
Yeah.
You know, so like you said, you started writing at the church first. You know, I know comedian Akintunde, comedian Mike Goodwin. They used to serve in the AV ministry.
Yeah.
They were on the cameras.
Okay.
They were working doing the TV broadcasts and stuff like that. Who would know that they'd be doing? You know, Mike Goodwin is all over the country.
Oh, yeah.
Mike is all over the country. I remember these guys serving in the back where nobody could see you every Sunday. Now they're on stages, packing out auditoriums everywhere they go.
Yeah.
You know, so God can give you that OJT
Yeah.
for something that you will use in that ultimate calling. So I think that's vital. And then number two, I would say to remain teachable.
Mm-hmm.
Always have that posture of I can learn
Right.
from the different environments that God puts me in, or be deliberate about seeking out the counsel of people who are doing things
Right.
better than what you're doing.
Right.
You know, so identify people who's doing it at the level in my space that I see myself in, who's doing it at that level. How did they get there? You know, read a book, read their autobiography,
Yeah.
listen to blogs, listen to podcasts, like immerse yourself and be teachable.
Yeah.
And you will pick up things as you go that's going to help you when you get to the main stage. I think too many artists, because creating music is so accessible for people,
Mhm.
they just think, oh, I got a song, I got a studio at home, I can do it in GarageBand. Not knocking GarageBand, I've done a lot of things in
Right.
GarageBand. But because it's so simple, I can
Right.
export it as an MP3 and put it on SoundCloud. You skip steps.
Yeah.
You skip the process a lot of times. And just because you have music out doesn't mean that you're really ready to be in a competitive space as a professional recording artist. It's more than just making music.
That's right.
You know? And as a Christian artist, it's definitely more than music. It's ministry.
That's right.
You know, so guys, you gotta put the ministry piece in and the professionalism piece in, and to really be competitive
I like
and
that.
effective.
Right. You have to be developed from the inside out.
Exactly.
It's
That's
a ministry.
awesome.
Never forget it's a ministry.
Man, this has been just amazing. I thank you for spending the time with us
My pleasure.
talking about this. And I know we need to know how to get your music and how to follow you and all of that. So
Cool.
inform the people.
Yes. So BigRed.com is the hub for everything. BigRedd.com. If you do one D, you're gonna get the bubble gum. So yeah, BigRedd.com, and I'm on Instagram, on Facebook. Everything is Big Red Music. BigRedd Music. YouTube channel. You can create a Big Red station on Pandora. Just go into Pandora, search for Big Red. Spotify, add me to your playlist, all that good stuff. Wherever you consume music legally, I'm there.
Definitely. And we definitely speak the blessings of God upon you and everything that you do in your family, all of that.
Thank you.
Because you are being a blessing to millions. So
I appreciate it. And if this is a myth that a lot of people have. I don't know why. So I start inserting this in my interviews. I am very accessible and approachable. So if you would like for me to come worship with you, worship with your church, your young people, if you got a youth conference coming up or a concert, I do Sunday mornings, Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It doesn't matter. Hit us up. My manager, Lamyron Jenkins of Integrity Consulting and Management, and we can be reached at area code 803-479-8066. Again, 803-479-8066.
awesome. Thank you so much. I feel like you're my big brother.
I
Come
know,
on.
right?
And he said he's approachable, and he really is. Because I reached out
Right.
to him, via Facebook and just talking through Facebook. I was like, man, I feel like we're related. But I know we got